there, welcome to Crafting Unedited. My name's Sierra, as you all may know. If not, and you're a first timer, welcome to Crafting Unedited. Today we are going to talk about how to size your decals for your shirts. There's a ton of sizing charts out there, but how do you know if it fits what you're looking for? And the differences in like shapes and sizes of decals can be really confusing for some, especially if you're brand new to making t-shirts. Well, today I'm going to explain to you my method of how I measure t-shirts. And in reality, it's more of a wing it method. If you have subscribed to my channel and you've watched a few of my videos, you well know me for my winging it. I am very much so the type of person that does not like to measure things. I don't even measure things in my recipes when I'm cooking, so there's that. But so far, I have had zero complaints in any of my t-shirts, and I've been making them for about 4 years. So whatever method I do use does work, apparently. So I just go with that. But for general sizing, those t-shirt charts that you will find everywhere online are very accurate. They are very helpful as well. I can drop one in the link down below in the description for you so that you have access to it. All right, so let's go ahead, dive in, and see what I got for you. So we have a few different t-shirts here laid out, and I'm gonna, like I said, show you my method of how I measure them. So first we're gonna start with a toddler shirt. This is my toddler sample shirt, so it's really dingy and like wrinkly and not really fabulous at all. But I use it for when I'm measuring decals for a specific shirt. I mean, it says 4T, but look at this thing. This is not a 4T. This would not fit my 5-year-old. So basically, I just measure it for the chest space, because for toddlers, the chest area is about all the same. It's very square. Most toddlers, I mean, there are some that don't fit that mold, but I measure them separately. But for general toddler t-shirts, this is what I use. It is a Hanes brand t-shirt. And what I do is I'll hold it up to me, or I'll hold it up to my toddler, and I will take my measuring tape that came with my Cricut Maker, and I will measure, I hope I turned it around for you. I will measure where I would want it to sit. So typically it's about 2 inches below the neckline. So you got the neckline up here, and then you look down and there's 2 inches. So the top of the decal should be about 2 inches from the neckline of the shirt. Then from there you measure across, and typically I will go, depending on what size of image the customer wants, I'll go 2 inches from the pit line. So 2 inches on each side, which is typically about that much. So to your first knuckles on your fingers, second knuckles on your fingers. So typically that is where my decal will sit, and that is how I measure how big of a space I have. If they just want a little tiny decal, then give them a 2x2. That's generally how you're going to be safe. But if they want something bigger, then you need as much space as possible, because I like to take up a lot of space. I like to give my customers what they pay for. So, not saying that you don't. That's what I like to do. Next, we have an adult small unisex t-shirt. This is a small. This is what I would wear. And what I do is I put it like I would wear it. So wherever the neckline would sit on me, which is right below my collarbone mostly, I'll put it up to me. See how I would like it to fit. Same thing, measure from the top of the neckline down to 3 inches. I can put these down there for you, the neckline measurements. Put them in the description for you as well. So about 3 inches from the top of the neckline. You can go down a little bit lower if you want, especially if your client is a little bit bustier. They're conscious about where this is placed. They don't want it right on top of their cleavage area. So some do. Some do, but most don't want it directly like sitting right here. They don't want it too low. They don't want it too high. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind. If the person is bustier, just make sure that, well, I guess if you're not like wholesaling your shirts to everyone in the world, that would be easy, but make sure that you have some sort of communication with that customer, that if they're not bustier, then great. Or if they're just ordering a general shirt, do it this way. 3 inches from the neckline. It's typically about 3 to 4 fingers, depending on how big your hand is. And then same thing with the sides. You want to make sure that you go, I think it's about 3 or 4 inches from the armpit area. 4 inches from the armpit area. 4.5, sorry. I can't measure this morning. So typically what I do is I'll fold it this way to get pit to pit. See how I have the sleeves? You go pit to pit and then you measure it. I rhymed. See that? It's about 4.5 inches on each side. So 4.5 inches from the pits and 3 inches from the neckline for adult small. Now this is the same method that you'll use for mediums and larges. It is about the same. This is a medium polyester shirt, but it does have a V neckline, so you're going to have a little bit less area to start from. I think I did 2.5. Nope, I did 3 inches from the top. So it's about the same, actually. Just goes down a little lower. I think. I don't know, that's a very minimal V-neck, but yeah. So 3 inches for the mediums as well. Now, where we go to get a little bit further down is on anything large and up. So larges, I'll go 3.5 to 4 inches from the neckline and about 5 to 6 inches from the sides, from the armpits here and here. And then another easy way to measure out your middle, I showed you guys this in one of my other videos, is to fold and press your shirt this way from pit to pit, and then fold and press your shirt right down the middle. So make sure that your arm sleeves are straight, like so. Make sure your top seams are straight, and then just press it right down the middle. That way you have a good T to work with. I just look like I was doing some sort of Vogue thing. But this way you have a good T to work with so that you know about where you want to place your decal. Because if you think about it, when you put this on here, I'll stand back a little bit, and you put this right here. So if I was a large, I'll do it with the small. So let's try this again. So if you put it here, you want your decal to be center, right? But then you also want to pay attention to, it doesn't want to stay on me. I think it's my decal on my shirt. Then you want it to be like not centered, but like right there. If it's a bigger decal, then you want to center it right there. But if not, then you want to go just above for the middle on that. All right. So now moving into the extra large or 2 extra large plus. So for my bigger people, I use Glidden. They don't shrink very much, and they seem to be a really good fit for anyone, but mostly so for bigger individuals. So for these, I will go 4 to 5 inches from the top here, and that's just a good, where's my measuring tape? There it is. It's just a good amount of space. As you can see, it doesn't look like it's off. It doesn't look like it doesn't fit there. It's right spot on. So about 5 inches from the top here. I did this one at 4.5. But that's because it has a bigger center decal. See, it's got the bigger moo cow. It says not in the mood. See how pretty that is? And then from the sides, again, this one was right, the middle is right above that pit to pit line. And as far as the sides went, this one was kind of tricky because I had the word mood kind of like curved. Which if you want to know how to curve text, that's in one of my other videos as well. It is 7 inches from the pit to the wording. So 7 inches on the sides, inward. And 4.5 to 5 inches down, and that's for the 2XL. Anything above that, anything above a large, in reality, definitely fold in half, press, fold in half. Well, not half, pit to pit, and press, because look at, there's the middle of my decal almost. You're going to want that. That makes it so much easier to do. And then you have a solid line on your shirt to go ahead and place your decal on. Don't need any laser levels. You don't need any tees. You don't need anything like that. Just fold it like this. You'll be good. Now, anything larger than a 2XL, say 3 to 5XL. Yes, I've done these. I have lots of orders for these. I actually have 2 right now for a 4XL and a 5XL. These definitely create that middle line, and then measure from that middle line here, and then size your decal. Like, one of the decals is already cut. I'm waiting on the shirt. This is a 3XL, so this is not the size that I am looking for. It is actually bigger than this. And when I made my decal, I made it as big as the machine would let me. So they wanted a Punisher decal. Purchased this. And so what I did was I took the 3XL and I made it a little bigger than what the 3XL needed. So this is a good size for 3XL if you really want it to be a dominant decal. Hey, that landed right side up. We're good. There's nothing on it. Alright, so typically for 3, 4, 5XL, you're going to want an 11.5 decal or bigger. And that can go either this way or this way. Most people want them both ways to be bigger. But you want it to fit the shirt you're making. You don't want it to be too big. You don't want it to be too small. So you wouldn't make a 12 by 12 decal for a size small shirt. Just won't work. Most of the time, smalls are about a 7 to 8 wide by maybe 10 is the tallest I'll go for a tall on the smalls. Mediums is about the same. Large, I will do 9, 10 for width. Sorry, yeah, 9 or 10 for width, and 11, sometimes bigger, 12 for the height. Anything above that is just a free-for-all. I mean, I love making the bigger shirts because you have more room to work with and it looks really, really interesting. So don't be afraid to make those bigger shirts. I know that I've heard a lot of individuals who won't make anything that is extra large and above because it's just too much. Charge for it and move on. It's a good market and it's a lot of fun to actually work with once you get the hang of it. In the very beginning, I will tell you, I was terrified that decal wouldn't be big enough or it wouldn't look right because it didn't fit properly. It was too small, or I made the decal way too big. I did do that once, but customer loved it. It worked. But you want to measure based on how that shirt's going to fit that individual, if you can. If you're just selling it to someone, you have no idea who they are, kind of reach out to them. If you can't reach out to them, then just use your best judgment as to what you think would look best and hope for the best. So as far as t-shirts go, that's my general guidelines to measuring. Go from the neckline, so wherever it would sit on your neckline, and kind of measure from there how you would want it to fit. I typically, like most individuals, like it to sit like right here or lower. You know, this is a lower cut shirt, so but it's typically 3-4 inches right from the neckline, unless you're doing a toddler shirt, then it's 2. And then from the sides as well, and the armpits. And to level your shirt, use that folding method. It really does work. Unless you fold it crooked, then you kind of have an issue. But that's why I use the pit to pit. Just realized that sounded really terrible. So you go from the armpits on each side, fold it over, because then that gives you a straight line across the shirt. And that's how it's going to sit on the individual anyway. So yeah. So that's all I really got for you today, folks. So go ahead, subscribe, like my channel, like this video, comment, let me know how you're doing. And Give me lots of good ideas. What do you want to hear? What can I help you with? What type of tutorials do you want? What do you want to learn? Let me help you learn, because that's what I am here for. Go ahead, subscribe, and until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.